Yeah, LeBron is just saying down the stretch, okay, I got this. Because when he wants to, when he decides to, he's getting better and better at playing bully ball down the stretch. Because there's still, I just look at my eye test of the people on the floor, everybody on Germany. Maybe Tice can sort of stand up to him, but in general, he's the biggest, baddest man on the floor. I'm talking about just height and brawn.
Absolutely.
He is literally LeBron, B-R-A-W-N, LeBron, right? Because he's got brawn. He's got raw musculature where he just attacks, and he's still got, he has extraordinary quickness for his age, just extraordinary explosiveness. I don't see an ounce of loss of that. So when he attacks the basket, the Germans, or let's go back to South Sudan, they're just overmatched, right? And down the stretch, he's shooting his threes better, and he did make the 1-3 to just keep the lead. He knocked it down. He set his feet, and he gathered himself, and he shot it with conviction, and he knocked it down. It was sweet. It looked good to me, right? All the whole motion looked good to me. And yet he just sort of kept them up. I think, can we see those shots that he made down the stretch? He scored the last 11 points of the game.
He should have.
And he had a couple steals, boards.
He did. He did it all. So here we go. This is the dunk. No, that's the layup. Okay, so the layup. All right. And then here we go again.
It's the one I like, I think, right here.
Yeah, it's just bully ball. Okay, that's just, I'm just better than you are.
I'm just bigger than you.
Okay, and then he makes the free throws, and these free throws look good to me. They look like there's no shaky hands going on. Those are good. And there it is. And when he let it go, I think he knew it was good.
Just go down the middle.
Watch this. Ooh.
Up and under. You got no chance. No chance.
The shoulders.
He's giving it the
shoulder rub.
That last move, though, man.
Okay. So
I need some of that in the regular season.
I also think he's looking around, and I got to tell you, as much as I love Ant-Man's ability and I love his future, I'm not sure I love his present with this team, because down the stretch of the last two games, he's been pretty shaky in the fourth quarter. Like it's a little, the moment's a little big for him right now, where he's not ready to just take the game over. There are a couple of times he tried, and he's getting loose with the basketball, and the ball belongs in LeBron's hands or Steph's hands down the stretch. And yet, now we get back to three-point shooting. How lucky were they in this game? Because Germany, trust me, that Obst, he can shoot it. And in the fourth quarter, Germany, it reminded me of the Australia game with Patty Mills, Germany goes 1 for 11 in the fourth quarter. 1 for 11? What if they make two more, right? What if they make two? Then all of a sudden you're saying...
Schroeder shot him out.
He did. Okay, so let's see quickly the 10 misses.
He got a lot of good looks. He just couldn't connect.
Yeah. Okay. Fairly open. No, that's their big man. And then that's Opes.
This is first half.
Badly. No, this is the fourth quarter. This is the fourth quarter. Nope. That's wide open. Fairly open, short. Pretty open, short.
Well, we just assume.
There's your guy.
What are you doing, man?
That's at the clock. Yeah. You got to make that one. You got to make that one. He didn't even come close.
Are we assuming that the Germans can shoot the threes?
Yes. They have a history of making these. Yep. These are pretty...
Yeah, they missed a lot of open shots.
You got to make that, man.
Like, they missed a lot of open shots.
Okay. So the point is, Australia had a bunch of shots. Now when it counts, you better hope somebody doesn't have a hot night.
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to be able to beat them.
Yeah, because in the end, with LeBron taking over against South Sudan and then yesterday against Germany, it still tells me there's still something missing in the team where he has to finally just throw up his hands and say, no, I'm going to do this, right?
It's the ball movement, Skip, because clearly you can see the difference in the first unit and the second unit, because the second unit comes in with this defensive intensity. They make the extra pass, whereas when you think about it, you got a team full of guys that are the number one option. Or number two at worst. So now you asking like, hey, go stand in the corner. They're not used to that. They not, go set a screen. They're not used to that. You know what I'm saying? As a number one option, you telling them to do things that they're not normally necessary that they do? only one number one option is Bron. He gonna play his role number one option. He's always, no matter what team he's on. Curry is second fiddle now. Anthony Davis, reason he's great because he plays that role already. So he's comfortable in that role.
He is.
You know, and the reason Bam is good, because he plays that role already too. But when you look at the other guys, they're going to be up and down. Tatum, Curry, Ant-Man, they're going to be up and down because they're used to being the guy. And so when they're not the guy, it's like, what do I do? You know, how do I help? You know what I'm saying? So that's where the chemistry problems, I think, come in at because of them having really undefined roles. You can't go over there and tell Curry to stand in the corner or Ant-Man to stand in the corner when they're all used to having the ball, coming and being in every action of every play, every time down. So that's why you see the difficulties on offense that they have, whereas these other teams been together, Skip. They've been playing 8 months out of the year, and then they plug in their NBA stars when they come in. But the other guys, they've been together. And so that's why it looks this way, that these other teams look like they can beat the U.S. because they've been together. Team USA have been together 2 weeks. They'll get it together. They'll be fine. That's why they're not covering the spread right now. But I think by next week...
They surely didn't cover it against South Sudan. That's for sure.
They did not.
They did not. Oh, that was a...
So the other shock yesterday to me was our guys hoisted up only 17 threes. This is a three-point shooting contest in the Olympics. It's the way international basketball works. Germany got up 45 to 17 attempts. They only made 13, but we only made 6. So they outscored us by 21 points at the three-point line, but they couldn't make one when it really mattered in the fourth quarter, which is why they went all the way up to 45 attempts, because if you go through the first 3 quarters, they were shooting it pretty well, and then all of a sudden they go all the way back to 29%. Okay,
45.
so 45.
Yeah, 17. But you know why there's a drop-off in three-point attempts? Because if you look at the floor, the three-point line is shorter, which leaves less spacing to create drives. And the other thing on defense, whereas in the NBA, you can't stand in the middle in the NBA as a defensive player.
Or you'll get defensive.
Or it's 3 seconds, whereas I'm seeing teams stand in the middle.
They do.
And so there's no driving lanes, because usually you get your three-pointers off the drive and kick. Whereas the European teams, they understand how to get their three-pointers off. Where U.S. is like, drive. If the driving lane's not there, it's hard for them to get to the rim. And that's why when you see LeBron go to the rim, it's not a straight line drive. He's really going through you. Like he's going through 2 people, because there's always people in the lane. And that's why they can't get in and not kick out for these three-pointers to get the attempts.
Okay, so here's for the 5 practice games. Our opponents got up 30 more three-point shots than we did in 5 games. So they shot 163 times from 3. We shot 133 times. But we made 48 to their 48 in the 5 games.
Okay.
So we made 36% of our threes, which is pretty good.
That's solid.
Yeah, real solid.
That's solid.
And our opponents made 29%. Well, is it because they were guarded? Sometimes they were guarded, but sometimes they just had open looks. And I think it's because you're playing Team USA in the fourth quarter, you start to get a little shaky, right?
That's my one concern, Skip. Key, if one of these teams get hot from 3, because like Skip showed on here, Germany had a lot of open threes. If they make 2 of those, we're not talking about this LeBron performance, this morning. So hopefully they can figure out, but I think the problem lies is they're getting off the slow starts and the rotations are slow, especially when you got Embiid in the pick and roll. He creates three-point opportunities because he's not able to switch like a Bam Adebayo and an Anthony Davis. So now when you run your pick and roll and you're in a drop coverage with him, guards are getting into the lane and finding their shooters on the opposite team, which is Sudan did and which Germany did. So they're going to have to figure something out prior to the Olympics in that coverage.
Okay. Keyshawn, are you encouraged or discouraged by what you've seen for 5 games? Because you've kind of cooled off.
I mean, it's practice, like you say. I've seen enough to make me believe that they'll be able to bring home the gold, and the games are going to be tough. They're not going to be 50-point blowouts.
No.
They're going to be a little, I think they'll cover spreads. I think they will. I think they'll cover spreads.
It just depends how sort of overestimated they get by Vegas. You know, like
Yeah,
the odds makers.
Those spreads are definitely moving after these.
I mean, I think when you look at the South Sudan situation, I think that really kind of, made you stand up and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because Canada, they could have ran away with that one. Then after that, they played Serbia. We saw what that
remember,
was.
Steph made 6 out of 9 against Serbia.
Against Serbia.
Right?
Then we had the Australia little kind of back and forth.
Yeah, Australia was before Serbia.
We was up, and then we let them close the gap.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the South Sudan situation, you got to go, oh, my God. When you're looking at your phone or whatever, you're like, wait a minute, man, did somebody get hurt?
Yeah.
Because going into it, you just didn't really know. That's why I always was saying, let me see what this team looks like. I'm not going to assume that they're just hot garbage. And now when you look at the situation yesterday with Germany, you go, okay, they got some players that played in the NBA. They know, like Paul said, they've been together 8 months. They plug in 3 or 4 of the NBA guys that don't